Hi, this is Gregory Brown with RMUnicorn, the Ruby Mendicant University video log. And I'm here again today with Jordan Byram,
Hey guys.
our tech expert that we're using.
That's a scary title.
I don't know how we're going to do these introductions. Like, I'm tired of introducing myself and I'm tired of introducing you.
Well,
Maybe we'll just start next time.
exactly. Hey.
Anyway, so I've got a couple of videos I'm going to upload that I took over the weekend, and there's going to be a little bit of gap in the schedule. There were supposed to be 5, including today, and there will actually be 3. But that's all right. We can just catch up in the days moving forward. So today we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing on the tech side of things, and then talk a little bit more about where we're going. Sort of the same deal, which every Tuesday and Thursday we hope to do. So, Jordan, why don't you give them a summary?
The big news we have this week is that we've moved hosting. So we moved off of Heroku and now we're on WebbyNode. So we had some exciting transition stuff moving over, but overall the app has been fine. We did some minor bug fixes. There was a problem with our login form that we showed off last time that we were so proud of. Only really worked in Firefox, so we actually fixed it for every other browser out there. And that's it for new stuff that I could think of off the top of my head. And we've got a lot of, Greg and I this morning talked about how we're going to change the way that assignments are sort of tracked and graded in the app. The way we were originally going to do it is every assignment was going to have a due date, but some of the structural changes that Greg wants to make to the actual program are going to change that. So we're going to just have assignments.
Yeah, why don't I give a little bit of background on that?
Sure.
In August and September, we ran the course in a way that would be fairly similar to a traditional academic setting where we had given assignments and due dates and ran in a linear fashion. I mean, at some point we had more than one thing assigned, but they all came in a linear order, so just having due dates made the most sense. But now we want to move more towards a self-paced and non-linear environment for the 3-week period. So we want to make it possible for people to submit their work on any of the projects at any of the time, get a review, and then possibly resubmit it if there's more work that needs to be done there. So that totally changes the structure of things, because really what's going to happen is that in addition to the individual project, they'll have 4 assignments that they're working on, the students, and really it's going to be more of a back and forth than a sort of linear path through the course. So what we'd like to do is introduce some review features and things like that. So basically, like we were talking about the idea of you've got the list of the assignments, and then you can request a review, and then that would make it pop up on the administrative panel for me, indicating that someone needs a review, and then we would basically have like a conversation thread.
Right, yeah, sort of like a back and forth, some comments, and so the way I sort of was envisioning it is that you'll go into the the context of a submission for an assignment, and you can see when the user requests a review, they can put in some details like where their project is, any sort of notes like, hey, this may be an area you want to check out. And then Greg will get the notification. He can come in, do his review, pop in some comments, and if that's all he needs to do, he can close out the issue and mark it as accepted, or put in some comments, wait for the student to comment back, and then kind of mark it as, all right, you need to go back and do some more work. So put it back in that pending status, and then the user can come back in, do another review, a whole other set of reviews. And then the nice thing about that is they can see their progress, and we'll keep like a little history screen based off of the submission, so they can say, all right, well, let me look at this submission. I had to submit it for review 2 times. What I do the first time, what I do right the second time. So they can actually use it as a learning tool as well. And this is something we haven't talked about, but even if Greg has sees the same thing happening over and over again, he could even open up maybe a review session to the entire class and say, hey, look at this, or bring it up in one of the video blogs to address themselves. The other thing you talked about.
Yeah, I think that that's really going to help. I mean, one of the things, we're changing the structure around a little bit so that there's actually not going to be direct lectures in the courses. Instead, I'll have copious amounts of office hours. It's basically translating the days that I normally didn't have office hours into office hours, and allowing people to come and meet me one-on-one. But one thing that I would have really liked to have done in previous sessions is when I saw a pattern coming up in several different submissions that I would have liked to have written articles or made videos and things like that. And it's going to make it a whole lot easier for us to be able to do that sort of thing, because one of the things that was really hard doing all of this through email and through IRC and that sort of stuff is that I had trouble remembering when I asked someone to make some changes, what changes I asked them to make when they came back to me. So this will sort of centralize that, and then also as I flip through the reviews, I can see where the patterns are and that sort of thing. So bringing it into the app is going to be a nice thing to have. It'll also make it easier for students to find this stuff. And it won't get lost in their own inboxes and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited about that. We were hoping to get that out in time for the October students to be able to use it right away in their course. It may take us a few days just because this is such a major change, but this is in response to some of the feedback that we got. The general consensus was that the students who have taken the courses so far that have gained their alumni status are fairly happy with the way that we did things, but thought that this might be an improved way of doing things. But it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes.
The other thing we're going to put up there is the ability to look at a course as a student and see how your fellow students are doing. So you could see, you know, if this kid did his project and had it approved, I know I can go to him and say, hey, you know, I saw you got this done. Can you help me with my project? I have trouble with this. What areas did you have trouble with? And stuff like that, so they can hone in on who's done what to help break out that process of kind of putting a feeler out there and say, who finished this? Well, they don't even have to do that. They can go and see exactly who finished it. So that's the other nice thing about this new review accepting process.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing how that turns out. One thing that'll be interesting to see is how the patterns are used by the students. And
right.
So the problems that might be easier might all be attacked once or not, I don't know. But it would be nice just to be able to see the whole student view with the accepted status. We're not going to show the sort of interim status. That'll be something internal.
Yeah.
But once people do get their project approved, you can see sort of how close everyone is in relation to the rest of the class. And I think that'll be useful. So these are sort of big changes, and hopefully we'll be able to get them working, but it might take us a little bit of time to get everything right. What else do we want to talk about?
The other big thing we want to put out is the alumni list. That's our other big goal
right.
for the near term.
We'll probably launch a public-facing version of the site that just has maybe a short description and then a list of the alumni, because I really want to get their individual projects listed out there. We've got 15 alumni now, and they've got some really great projects that I'd like to get some exposure and that sort of thing. So we'll get that out there. And I'll also, in a previous video, which I haven't uploaded yet, but I will do that now, I promised that we would get some of our content out there, but it's still sort of a slow process. I'll try and get it out there in the next few days, at the very least through a blog post or something like that. And I think that pretty much brings us to where we need to be with this. I guess one other thing that we haven't really talked about, but it will be relatively easy to do, is we want to make it so that the entrance exam is done in application. So that people go and when they get their invitation to it, then they can register in the app, which sort of makes that would allow them to make a user account at that point, gain access to it, and then be able to track their status. We actually did something like that the first time around, but it was sort of throwaway, and now we can get integrated into this system so that when we do get accepted students, then they would basically already have an account and be ready to go. So we'll build something like that too. And the entrance exam is going to start soon, in the next week or so, I guess. So we'll get that stuff together and get it out there. Now, let's see. We've got some students helping you with stuff now.
Yep.
It's going to be, do you have anything right now off the top of your head, or is it going to be a little while?
For new stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're going to do is, over the next couple of days, I'm going to clean up our tracker. And then anybody who's interested should get in touch with us through the mailing list. And then we'll open that up to those people and have them join in and help out.
Okay, great. So basically we'll make a wish list. You know, you could probably just claim any tickets that you think that you should be working on, and then anything that's open, then people can contact you, and then we can get them set up with access there and all that stuff.
I think that's the plan.
All right. Well, I think that's probably it for today. Now I still owe you to come back to talk about the importance of immersive education and that sort of stuff, and hopefully I'll get a video out about that tomorrow.